So since I can't find the original intro of this podcast, I'm just going to have to re-record it and put this one here at the beginning. So, welcome to a new episode of Fit the Description, where various black men come together to talk about life, society, entertainment, news, culture, and whatever else we want to talk about from various black men's perspectives. I'm your host, G, and today we got Keith, James, Ella Coolpat, B, and Adam. And just so you know, this podcast is going to be like the last podcast where we're going to take 2 different recordings and put them into one. So this is the first chapter, and then the second chapter is going to have a different crew. But beyond that, wherever you're at, do us a favor, make sure to subscribe. If you're here on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit that bell. If you're on various different podcast platforms, make sure to subscribe, so you don't miss out on new episodes. And also, check out our Clips channel. We do have a Clips channel. It's Fit the Description, just like the name of the podcast. We usually do 2 clips a week. We also have a Patreon that you can check out. If you want to make sure to get your question asked for sure, or even maybe choose a topic, check out our Patreon. All the links will be down below. And also, just remember, if you're listening to this on the podcast platforms, you're actually listening to the podcast at a delay. So if you want to be up to date, make sure to check it out on YouTube. But just so you know, for the people who listen to us on the audio platforms only, we do at times bring out exclusive episodes and sometimes release episodes early on the audio platforms, So just because you on YouTube here may be ahead, you may be missing out on some exclusive content that you might find on the audio platforms. So that's something for y'all, because we see y'all really rock with us. So we want to make sure that we do something special for y'all from time to time when we can. So we definitely may try to do something exclusive for the audio version only. And once we figure that out, we'll definitely do it. But beyond that, again, if you want to be up to date, you got to check us out on YouTube. But the great thing about being on the audio podcast platforms, had to think about that one, that you pretty much don't have to worry about us skipping a day, because you just keep getting episode after episode. So, but if things start picking up, we'll definitely speed y'all up. We'll see how things go. But beyond that, I want to thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank y'all for checking out the podcast, and we're just going to get into it. So, Adam.
Yo.
All right. So we were talking about this last night, and I know you wanted to talk about this because you kept begging me on about it. But I'll go ahead.
So I just want to make the record straight.
So hold on. Let me make sure to set this up. So just so you know, right now, what we're talking about, this article says California Task Force, reparations for direct descendants of enslaved people only. So basically what's happening is California, I guess, to set up a task force, and they're about to set up a law to actually give blacks reparations. So me and Anna were talking about this last night. I kind of told him to hold off for the podcast so he could say his points. So I'm going to go ahead and let Adam lead this one, since he really wanted to talk about this one really bad.
I'm just going to get this out straight off. It's not delving into it as much as I did, but I am descendant of, for the past term, slaves. I know we all are, but my grandfather was born in my grandfather was born in 1898, I believe. And then my mom was born in 1969. And this was, those numbers are right. So my grandfather was born in Jackson, Mississippi. And my mom was the same way, the same thing. My family, even though it goes back to a different era and such, it's hard for me to actually go and do the research, because I tried finding the research, tried to do it myself a couple years ago on my grandmother, herself, because she was born, I don't know when she was born, to be honest, and I know it's kind of sad to say, but she was of the Blackfoot tribe, and she was born
Mm.
somewhere. It's just hard to get information.
Right, right.
Not just getting the DNA information, that'll be easier, but just when you do it yourself, like it's hard to find that information, especially when, at the time you could be born in one state in one area, and they might have the birth records, but they might lose them too because it didn't have the same amount of care as your counterparts did, and everything of a different color. So although it's like, oh, you was born here or this and this and this, sometimes it's very hard if no proof at all, especially being a Native American, for my grandmother, to actually even pull up that information. And I researched for weeks trying to figure it out. I called, I did everything I could, you know, to no avail. It's just like no one had a record of my grandmother. I know there has to be one out there, but it's just like I can't find information. I know my grandfather did have over 300 acres that he
Mm.
inherited and bought and worked for, and my other family came in and took it. He couldn't read, so it was a lawyer that came in and took majority of his property because he had him sign paperwork that he couldn't read, and it was fought against, and we only got some back. And my mom,
Wow.
because she wasn't out there at the time, only received 3 acres, probably five to be honest with you, out of that whole 300. And this lawyer is a white lawyer, but the lawyer nonetheless received over 200 acres. Like, can you imagine how that makes me feel when I learned all this
Wow.
information, that this is what happened to my family, that we had an area in Mississippi, we had land, we had farms, we had a lot of things, for it to just simply come in and be taken by a lawyer, and like the due diligence wasn't done. There are laws in place that prevent people from taking advantage of people who can't read. There are laws in place that prevent people from just, any, majority of these things. But
Right.
somehow, some way, it was bypassed or done in a certain situation where my family has lost all of our land. The only thing we have is a decrepit house that needs work on, work in, a family grave that I don't even know where it's at. I just know we have one. And
Mm.
it's a history that we had that is lost. Just like a lot of people, their history is lost. Their culture and everything of what they can remember of what was passed down. As African Americans, I know people are going to have different opinions on the matter, but
All right, hold on. Sorry, Adam, I gotta stop you. But anyways, sorry about that, Adam. If you wanna keep going on, man.
yeah, it's well, I know I'm going to get on the topic. I just want to give a little bit of the background and everything, but I feel like, and everyone's going to have different opinions. I feel like us as African Americans, we don't really have, or we lost our actual culture, because we all know how, and the, and the institution that it went through in order to strip us of who we are, where we came from, our history, and everything of that nature. To have us come integrate in American society, and not even American society, but slave society, and have us believe that this is what we know, this is who we are, this is our name now. Like, everything that you believed in is now gone, and you're going to give that up, or else we will kill you. And of course, there were people who fought against that, and they died for what they believed in. But at the same time, if you had a family and they was brought out here, or you was brought out here, and then all of a sudden you have a family, uh, I can't necessarily say what people thought of in those times, but I do know one thing is that, majority of people who do have a family or kids, like you have, or you understand a certain degree of responsibility, and although you might not like it, you got to do things for them, and you'd rather like it, you might rather the alternative, or might rather live and fight. But you know, I just don't agree that we have our own culture. What we have is a culture that we were able to make, but it's not an actual heritage culture. And to see this um not letter, but this information that they're finally going to start doing something, start, sometime next year, that that makes me extremely happy. Regardless of what the outcome may be, regardless of the fact of the matter, it's like this is what's being done here and now, and what we will be doing in the future. So I'm extremely happy. I'm ecstatic, even though I might not sound like it. I'm ecstatic that we're finally getting recognition. We're finally getting like our due diligence in a way. It might not be how everybody wants it or even believes it should be, but it's something. It's a start, after so many years of trying to do it, and not trying to say anything or anybody else, but there's been so many people that's come during certain situations. They was able to receive money for a situation that they were wrongly put in, like and to be honest, the camps that America had and put I believe it was the Japanese residents in because of the war at the time it was in. They got paid some money. How were now everything with Ukraine, right? It's Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything with Ukraine right now, how we put money aside, how we're opening up our doors to refugees and trying to help them out. How, I don't know if it was Los Angeles per se, but how the country was helping its Asian Americans deal with Asian hate and everything when that happened. At the same time, Black Lives Matter was happening, and yet it kind of skipped us and directly went over there to Asian Lives Matter, which is good. Of course, all lives do matter, but it's just the way it went into what Black Lives Matter stood for, how it was fought against, but it was okay when Asian Lives Matter came up. And it's like, okay, you guys, no one said that your lives doesn't matter. We understand. And when you look, it's like we really do understand. Like you can't look at us and tell us we don't understand. No, we understand. But when we had something and it kind of just skips us and goes directly to you, when we was already when we was fighting, we had this for it, and it was simply taken, and it was like, okay, we understand, and this is what we're going to do to help you, versus the fighting we had to do in order to even get that done. Like it does make it seem a certain type of way. It does make people feel a certain type of way. Not that they don't uh, understand, they just feel a certain type of way. And then when everything was coming out, like with certain videos that was being posted about how Asian Americans felt when Black African Americans were coming to their establishments, or this and that. I won't bring up specifics, but you just have to go and look it up for yourself. But it made people feel all types of ways. So now that this is done, like in 2022 and soon to be 2023, when Ashley will be starting to actually work, it's great. Now, do I believe that this is the state that it should be done in first? Not necessarily, but I can understand, at least from my perspective, why they want to start it in Los Angeles and California, excuse me, and not in other states where it would have been more effective because of the population, or the relations of the population. So I honestly, even though I don't live in Mississippi, I lived in California and I moved to Nevada, so it doesn't necessarily affect me the same way it's going to affect people in California, or have the same reaction for people who live in Mississippi. I'm glad and I understand. And whether or not my mom, who still lives in California, hopefully this can be done. Something can be done to help her out. since both my grandparents have passed and she's the only living relative, like next in kin, in the sense of saying that would be eligible for it. I'm happy that she's at least should be able to get something because of the experiences that she had in Mississippi and the experiences she had in California when she moved out here. So, I mean, like it does hit me like really hard. And, I know it hits a lot of other people really hard and some even harder than me, but, at least we can just like look up and just be like, finally something, finally something. And, just go from there.
Yeah, but like my only concern is I haven't looked at it yet, so I'll try not to say.
I'll send the link.
Yeah, I'll try not to say anything too out of bound. I said my only concern is one who's behind all this, and what's their policy and motives behind all this. To when they say black, what do they technically mean? Because black's not a culture. So are they, in certain European countries, black can mean they call Caucasian people black, but they mean when they mean by black is by their status and between poor and rich. So when they say
okay,
black,
hold on. Sorry, B, I got to stop there because let me fill in a little bit of information from my understanding from what I found out. Since you're like, well, what is black? What does that mean? All that stuff. So, basically, everything's still being written. If you read the article, it basically says that, and there's other websites I talk about too. The stuff is still being written, and they're still trying to figure everything out. So none of the details are written yet. But what they did say was the way they're gonna do it, from my understanding, is if you can prove from your great great grandfather or beyond, I guess, and before that, as long as you could prove that they were in the South or any fact of your family was from the South at the time during like race, during slavery or Jim Crow laws, basically. So, and it starts with your great great grandfather. So if your great great grandfather was in the South during Jim Crow laws or slavery, then you'll basically qualify for reparations. What they're saying. But you had to be. You basically had to be. You basically had to be black. You had to be black, and you can't be basically you can't be like, for example, you can't be from Africa and come over here. You actually have to have proof that your family was there.
I was gonna go there. Like, are they talking about just Americans or Africans or Africans?
No, only Americans.
Okay.
And then I mean, you can, because if you're seeing, I forgot, I can't think of the word right now. But yes, if you weren't born in this country, whatever, you don't qualify. You had to be, yes, your great grandfather. You had to be able to prove. No, my fault. You had to be able to prove your great great grandfather was in the South at that time.
And only grandfather and not grandmother?
For what I read, it said grandfather, but it's probably both grandfather or grandmother.
Okay. Because I know my great great grandmother. She was born in Texas. But that's how far my knowledge goes when it comes to her.
Then you will basically qualify basically for what you're saying.
Okay. And I don't know who my great great grandfather. I don't know who he is. So that maybe he's in the record somewhere. I don't know. I'll have to look and see.
I think that as long, regardless of where, I think long as you can show proof that you had heritage going back to slave days, your family was in it, you should be able to get that. You should be able to qualify for it. It shouldn't be like it's only in the South, people from the South. Like, yeah, that's majority of the area, but there's other areas too. before then that
Right.
went into that. And then, even if they were able to escape slavery, and they ended up in another state, it should still be like, okay, no, this was my great 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 grandfather, and he came from this area. He came from here. He was part. Can't tell me that my great 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 grandfather was not in or part of slavery just because he was here and now he's here, or she was here and now she's here. No, that's not, you can't excuse my the sufferings of my ancestors because you want to say that this was here. And I'm not trying to be technical with it, but like I said, I'm happy about it. But it also, that small little clause in there that they put in there does upset me. It's like, okay, so I don't qualify because you guys lost the records, or I can only go back from right here. I can have a family tree that shows where my family came from before you guys even started like giving us birth certificates or anything. Do you want me to find a copy of my ancestors' receipt of when you bought them, or when do I need to get that much in depth to show that, hey, my family was bought and then they was drowned later on because the masters deemed them excessive whatever, or that they wasn't able to output, give a lot more do a lot more output than what they was worth. So instead of selling or whatever, they decided to kill them and get the insurance money on them or whatever. I find great. Man, I forgot the word. I'm I'm making myself upset about the fact of the matter, and I'm just like, I'm happy, but now I'm making myself upset because because what I'm understanding. And like I said, I
Right.
know it's probably going to be they're going to go back into it and correct certain things or do certain things, so that's the future. Hopefully they do, but the fact of the matter is, like, at least where they have it right now is something, but it's still a upsetting matter to even delve delve into because of the if, ands, and buts, or qualifications of the matter.
And that's where I go by who's representing us in a sense. Who's is there a team, some type of team that's making sure that everything is is uh being written? Do we how do we get involved, or do we have a say in all this, or this just them doing it?
It's a team.
Yeah,
It is a team
yeah,
who's in
okay,
charge of it. Or you know what? Let me correct myself. It's a team in California who is in charge of it, or who's starting the process of it. I do know that if you're disabled, you can get help in order to find out disabled, or probably have some type of mental issues. You can get the help that you need in order to figure it out. But that's only if you're able body, I believe, then it's up to you to figure out how, to get the resources that you need in order to figure it out. But this is like right now too. Like, they're not going to
right,
start this process until next year. It's just already, done. They're just saying that, now they're preparing for it. So again, I think they're going to have changes to the policy and everything that they're doing to help people that need the help. Because I can also see this as like people who can't to get afford the resources. They should also be able to get the help that they need in order to figure it out. Um,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's positive, but I don't know if it's like an ulterior motive to it outside of certain things. Like, I don't know. Whenever the government is requesting certain information from you, I'm not gonna say it's always bad, but it seems like that most of the time. Hey, you just got a letter from the government. Oh, damn, what they want now?
uh, Yeah, I'm just making sure that we have the right representatives, who talk to these politicians or whoever who's writing up this document, and so we could get our so we could have our true justice and not to be screwed over again. If we get reparations, is it gonna be something that they're just gonna tax us right away? You gotta think about that. If I'm getting reparations, no taxes should be included in that. So where do I suggest that? Who can I talk to suggest that ideal to them? To put that ideal to them is so they could talk to the politicians or whoever's writing this bill to try to fight to include that taxes shouldn't be involved with our reparations.
As far as I read, you're right. I don't think they did say anything about taxes being involved or uninvolved in the situation. So because they did it, at least at this point, it's safe to assume that there probably are going to be taxes. Because how they like to tax you on everything.
Exactly. And that shouldn't be though. This is our money. Like, if that's our money, that should not be non-taxable.
I definitely don't want.
Cause now you're just saying, well, we can give them the money, but we're pretty much going to get it all back through taxes anyway.
I just don't want to see anything like, because of how many people are getting it and it's coming from this fund and not based off of like personal amount, that we're just going to give you like $5,000 or $10,000 out of it. And I would again, that's something I would take offense to. Like, okay, so you're telling me that out of all the years of slavery, you see fit that and this is what you're saying, I'm entitled to $5,000, maybe $10,000. I can't. Can I curse on this podcast? I don't even know. You know what I want to say.
You can.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit, with that noise.
Okay. So let's just remix this a little bit. So instead of telling you like what you think that's not going to be in there, let me ask you this: what do you want, or what do you want to see, or what do you think should be in there? Then let's go that way.
You want to go first, B?
I don't know. First, no taxes. That's crazy. Well, I actually wrote down a whole list of what I was for reparations. It's just in one of my hard drives. The document is one of my hard drives. I don't know where I put it, but is it's going to have to be a very large amount. If you give 400 million to the Ukraine, well, that's what it was.
Was it that much?
Or like was it 180 or it was in the 100 millions.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. If they could get that much, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. They're not. No offense to Ukraine. I don't vouch for anyone to get into. I don't vouch for any any citizen or country to be in war with each other. I don't vouch for that at all. But they showed their hand that they had the money. They showed their hand that they could give out 400 million, 180 million, or so, whatever how much it was to go help out somebody. So I don't want to hear it that we don't have the money to give back reparations. I don't want to hear it. They got it. They got it. You know, especially through these with the 2 years with all that free money everybody was getting. That was our reparation money. You know, that's our reparation money that they was giving away for free all these years. That's how I look at it. You know. So yeah, it's gonna have to be a large sum of money with no taxes. You know. Now let's say that they make we can't get all that money all at one time. All right, so fine. Give me 10,000 a month for the rest of my life.
Right, some monthly
15,000.
installments.
Huh?
I said some monthly installments.
Yeah, for the rest of my life. I don't have to worry. You know.
And there's going to be some increases in that too for every month that you don't pay up on time, or every month that it's not paid off. I'm going to add a percentage onto that.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, we got to put stress on them. You know, we got to nail it into them. You know, there's no we got to make sure there's no holes in the wall. You know, this has to be concrete. You know, if we really want justice here, and we really want this reparations, you know, hell, they even still they still owe us 40 acres of land. That was said by them.
Mule. Don't forget the mule.
With the meal, yeah. I want that too. You know, and now, since it said now we have to demand what type of land that we could get. You know, they're gonna try to play slick and try to give us some type of swamp land that nothing could grow on. You know,
No, man,
you can't grow nothing on that land. You can't farm on that land. You know,
they're gonna give us some houses in the metaverse.
Hey. Well, no. We want no, not for this one. I don't want digital money. I want real life money. It needs to be real life. You know, because once things get into the metaverse, the reality is gonna be a novelty. The reality is gonna be gold. So no, I don't want digital. I want reality, man. True. Come on, I know that land's gonna be gold. It's gonna be gold. So now we have to demand what type of land we're going to get. No, it has to be land that can grow crops on. You know, it has to be land that you can put buildings on. It can't be a swamp land. You know, you can't build on it. You can't grow anything on it. It's too muddy. It can't be no type of land like that. See, that's why I said we're not going to leave no holes in the wall, man. We're gonna have to detail every single detail to this thing. You know. Want to add on to that, Anna? You gotta.
Yeah, I definitely need that 40 acres in the mule. I definitely, you know what? I would settle. This is what I would settle for, you know, and I said settle. I would settle for 2 houses, a couple of acres of land, and if I got to pick where it was at, the land itself, I would get a house in California, not in LA though, North California, And
Yeah.
then I would get some land in Mississippi or wherever my forebears were born or where they did majority of the work at. I would need an apology letter, not me personally, but to my family. That's what I would need an apology letter for. I think a lot of people definitely want that apology letter. Like, I understand it was wrong. It's not the fact of, because of the times and everything. It's not because of that. It's because of how long it took to be recognized. It's because of how many times we were skipped over for somebody else to get something in order for to to placate them, to make them feel better. It's like, we're sorry that we did this, so here's some money. Like, no, I want an apology letter from the government, saying that we were wrong because of what they did, because of how many years it took, and because of the fact that we kept being skipped over. Like,
Right.
because we were devalued as people, and people should never be devalued. We should all have the same equal amount of standing, be seen in the same light, not regardless of like where we come from or the color of our skin, you know,
Right.
because you can place a monetary value on, by our name. That's a no. I would definitely need my money, some houses, some land, I'll take a couple acres and a cow. I don't want no mule. I'll take a cow or an ox. I'll take an ox.
Right. Right. Right.
And then an apology letter. I would like to know the land where my forebears grew up on, so I know where that is if I ever want to go visit. I
Right.
want to. It's just a couple things that I want personally, but I feel like that can be given to a lot of other people. In this day and age, to be like, oh, like the value of this was this back then, so this is what this is now. With if you take into consideration of the daily value and blah blah blah, things of that nature. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So where's my land? So where's my house at? You know,
Right.
um, that's just what I want. So I feel like we deserve that, especially when especially if you can see, like, you had certain family members that, even though they might have been in slavery, then they let's say they went to Black Wall Street or one of the other very few black cities in the country that was like bombed. People still need to give reparations for what they did in I forgot what state it was, but it was not Black Wall Street. Maybe it was Chicago. I think it was, no, in Illinois. I'm not 100% sure, but they locked all the black people in from within that city into like the gymnasium in the school. They went and they burned down all of their houses and land, um, and then for them to let them out when it was done, so that way they had no way to protect their land. They couldn't make their insurance claims, even though some of them did. They never seen money from the insurance claim. And then the land was bought up by um, Caucasians, and that was that. That's a whole entire another area. I know I'm getting off subject, but I
Yeah.
just feel like, as we're going into this subject, let's just take into account like all the things that was done when we did try to do things right. When we did, and we're still trying. Let me rephrase that. But when we did try to make our ancestors tried to make their own living, their own way of life, and everything. They tried to do things their way by using the same rules and regulations that other people did. But oh no, you can't use that because you're black. So so basically, whatever you're doing, even though you're making money now, we don't like the fact that you're making money now. So we're going to come and we're going to do something about it. I feel like that needs to be taken definitely into consideration. I feel like it needs to be rules and laws and regulations that prevent any type of taxation on that money that we get. I feel like if we wanted to, we can receive it in different ways. We can have investments in stocks. We can have investments in businesses. We could do certain things with the money that we should be able to get. You
Right.
know, I honestly feel like that. And just for the matter that if anything happened to us while we had that money invested, that money's not going to go to the government. It's going to go to the next of kin or someone within our family or someone that we
Right.
delegate to, but
Right.
it's within not online. It's not done here and there. It's done by a panel of people that will be overlooking the projects of where our money is invested in, but they themselves have no way of getting that money just to be on the safe side. But
Yeah.
I have a lot of
Mm.
I agree with you, B. I definitely have a lot of like, if this happens, then we need safety measures, precautions. We need understandings. We need um, rules, regulations. We need paperwork that we all get showing that this is what it is. These are the options that we have. This is who you can speak to in regards to the fact of the matter. If you want to pull your money out, this is how long it has to stay in. If you go this route, this is how much money you're going to get. No pre-tax if they do, because I know it's probably going to happen,
Yeah.
or non-tax. This is what it is. We just need to have all this paperwork. We just need to have it all verified. We just need it all in writing. It's not no he say,
Right.
she say. It needs to be in writing.
Oh, fact. And um yeah, and then I said that, and I said, um, my only thing is the people who's trying to represent us. That's literally my only issue. That's for looking at history. Just because they have a black face doesn't mean they're actually for us. You know,
Exactly.
so that's the only thing I'm worried about. If they're going to get someone like Al Sharpton or something, or Jizzy Jazz trying to represent us in some type of way, to help with this bill, man. That's going to be absolutely terrifying. You know, absolutely terrifying, man. I know they don't talk for me.
I,
you know, and that's pretty much my only issue, and it's something that I think it needs to be more aware. This whole reparation thing needs to be. This should be on everyone, especially Black America. This should be on everyone's radar, and not this whole Jay and Will Smith shit. This should be our number one news. You know, really start to think about this whole reparation and shoot, what how can we make this all work? You know, this should be on the table. This should be the one of the main talking points on the table right now. Well, it should have been on one of the main talking points years ago, but shit, we're still alive, so nothing's never too late. We're still here, so this should have already been on the tables talking. We should all be informed, and we should know all the options that has been presented to us to at least vote for or to agree upon on. You know, so but we want to focus on Will and Jada. But yeah, I feel you, Anna, with the passion that you have, man. I feel that. Our ancestors got screwed over heavily, man. Heavily. You know, I want justice. I want mainly justice for them. you know. You know, we're here for a reason, so
Especially that apology. I can't let that go.
right.
You know,
You
and it's
know.
like even to this day, you know, I have a coworker. She moved from Mississippi.
Hmm.
How things are still like down there, and I'm pretty sure we can. It's better than it was before, but I'm pretty sure we can still understand that how things are seen. This is how things are done. Like she was telling me, like interracial relationships down there are still seen as like as taboo. People look at you weird. You know, you get people say certain things to you. You know, it's just
Right.
it's just a yeah, man. It's just a no.
Right. No, I heard about, the South, that interracial relationships are still um looked down upon over there, you know. Um and there's is compared to, LA or New York, where, yeah, I don't receive black couples anymore. I don't
Right.
receive black couples anymore, man. Yeah. When was the last? I mean, that's a good question to ask the panel. I mean, what's the last time you seen a black family walking around where the wife, the wife husband's black, and they have a few children who are black as well, man? Well, when was the last time you seen that? I can't remember. I feel like I can't remember the last time I even seen that. Seen that, you know.
What was it? You said it was when's the last time you seen a black couple walk around?
Yeah, what was family like? Black couple with kids. They're together walking around. You know, because I
I
only see, I'm only seeing, for the most part, interracial relationships.
I see a lot of that out here. Um,
Okay.
well, I mean, like it's a mixture because this is Vegas, so a lot of people come out here from different areas
Right.
of the country and everything. So that's one thing. But I do understand. I do understand, man. Because when I was out there in Lancaster, it was the same thing. Um, you've seen certain people here and there. I mean, like it's with the time, so of course it's better and everything. But at the same time, for exactly like for people who state that they're for the people who state that they're pro-black and everything, and they always have something to say about interracial couples. And then it's just to me this whole situation is kind of weird when it comes to the people like that.
Yeah. That's, well, the one thing I read about the pro black scene is, they say one thing, but they live completely different lives, man. Um, so the most they're a bunch of hypocrites, man. But yeah. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm just seeing, you know, I just don't see any black families anymore, man, and it kind of sucks, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Uh, Especially like when I look at the kids, man. When I look at the kids, I want my sons. Well, sons. I would like to have sons, you know, or if I have a daughter, let my son, at least let one of my sons comes first.
Yeah.
you know, but if I have a son or a daughter or whatever, I want them to look like me, man. You know, so when I seeing all these Lonzo Ball people walking around, I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm good, but at the same time, I understand, man. I understand we're in a poor state. We're in a poor state when it comes to, the male and black male, black female dynamic. You know, when we, um, especially especially on the online side of things, especially on the online side, real life is a little bit different. You know, I I don't be having these type of problems like what you be seeing online. Do YouTube, do Twitter, TikTok, Clubhouse, Instagram. Yeah, you be seeing all types of dysfunction on there. But real life it's not like that, So I actually be getting along with people. But when I go into the digital world, man, it is ugly, bro. It is ugly, man. that's why I stay off of it. I don't want to warp my thinking into thinking what the online community is trying to make is trying to get you to think. You know.
That's true. I feel like a lot of people's how they see things is warped because
mm-hmm.
They try and relate themselves to social media, and social media is not. It's an outlet, yes, but it's not real. It's like based off of moments in people's lives, which is usually always the positive in people's lives. So it's just like when you compare yourself to other people, it's kind of just like how what am I doing right now in life? Because everybody else seems to be doing great or good, and this and that. And that low key depresses you, and it's a downhill spiral. Like I believe that's taking it in spades. Like take it now, take it then, but not all the time, or don't not that. Just don't compare yourself to to other people on there. But yeah, I tried bringing up the thing again about so I can have more to go off of as far as who it was that was going to be in charge of the excuse me, who's going to be in charge out here out there in California. I know they gave us the name. They gave us the name of the person they was in charge. They told us basically about the panel who had decided, who voted on it. I think the vote was a 6-4 or 5-4 vote that like we should go ahead and go through with this. And I know one of the people on the board, I think, was a Asian American, I believe, but I'm not like, not the board for us to choose, but the board who voted for this to go into play. But yeah, they did choose, I forgot the person's name. They did choose someone to be in charge of it, at least for out here in California. And they're just gonna go. I don't know how much help they're gonna get. I would assume a good amount because it's gonna be based off of everybody in California. So only time will tell in regards to like how things are gonna go. Because they're still talking about what we should be getting or what we're gonna be getting. And I don't know if it's gonna be around the whole entire country or if it's just gonna be a state by state situation. Because I can definitely see people from California getting more money because you live in California and everything's
No,
inexpensive.
the task force is only for California, not for the rest of the country. So it's only going to be applied in California.
Yeah, for right now, which I'm hoping it does expand out to other states. But what I'm saying is that for whatever amount that you guys do get out there in California, I think it's going to be dependent on where you live at and like how they've been doing everything else. I don't know if it's going to be a certain amount. Like I wish it was a specific certain amount, or how many. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. It's too early to make any judgment calls or start thinking about any information in regards to like how many um, family members you had in slavery, how many years, if anything, if that's even taken into account for how many generations, how many, you know, just things of that nature before they come up with a number. I don't know if they're going to get technical with it or if they're just going to be very like, okay, we can verify that your family was, so now you're going to get this amount type situation. Because they are still talking about it, trying to figure it out.
Right.
But I can definitely see this being easier to be taken in the western states than it would be in the eastern states. I mean, yeah, in the east states or the
Okay.
definitely
Yeah.
the southern states.
Right. Mm. Okay. So yeah, there's something. Of course. After I get off this, maybe sometime this week, I'll look into it and get more clear, get a better clarity of what's actually going on, and maybe I could send some ideals or something. I don't know. Make sure that they actually stay on this shit, and and not have bad representatives for us to be that's trying to screw us over. Because like I said, it doesn't mean you have a black face or whatever. Doesn't mean you're for us. So I had to keep that in mind, and and to do research about who's doing who and what do they stand for and all that other stuff. So because like I said, I don't want no holes in the wall with this shit. you know, wherever what we decide what reparation is, that is 100% solid. There's no loopholes. There's no, well, yeah, only if this, and all these other requirements to get no. It's ironclad. It's ironclad. It's solid. What it says, and that's what y'all do. you know, um, we all know how tricky these people are. We all know how tricky they are, and they're good with this shit, they've been doing it for a long time, so um that's why I want to make sure whoever who's um representing us in any type of way, that they got a solid team and all that. you know you know yeah. Well, the one thing I answers is why we got screwed over is because we just didn't know, or we lacked skill, just like what Adam was telling his story about his grandfather. Uh, uh, he didn't have the reading skills, or you hear other stories, they didn't understand the laws, or they didn't understand just contracts in general. So so that there should be no excuse in 2022 to be suckered like that. You know, there should be no excuses for 2022 to be suckered like that, and that's why I said there has to be no holes. This has to be solidified and strong. Because we can't mess up again. We have too many examples of the past of us messing up. I hope we learn from those examples and we can finally do things properly this time. Have a solid team, have our lawyers, have our politicians who knows the laws, have all these people on the team to look over the paperwork to make sure this reparation is going to be it's gonna be good for us. You know, it's gonna have justice for your loved ones of the past. You know, because they put in a lot of work for us to be here today. They did a lot of sacrifices went in for us to be. I mean, just think about it, man. We're a lot at all throughout all history, throughout all this ancient time, throughout all this ancient time. We're here. We're alive. Your genes actually made it this long. So let's do this reparation right and proper this time. Let's learn from their mistakes and do things properly. You know, for our future bloodlines don't have to suffer no more. You know, I'm done.
I definitely agree.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right, G.
All right. Well, like I said, I mean, me and James kind of went over this on the last podcast. It wasn't that long, but we already went over it. I mean, there was a couple of things and a couple of arguments that James had that was really good and would have really been really great for this conversation. But we had it on the other half of this portion of the podcast. So if you want to listen to that part and you want to hear those thoughts about this subject, you guys got to listen to the first part of this podcast. So I'll put it to you like that. But yeah, hopefully next time if we do another podcast, we can get everybody on together and have this again. So, you know, it will be a lot better because I know it's kind of hard to get everybody together, but we wanted to do this since that situation was so big. But like I said, man, it was definitely great to see y'all and hear some of y'all coming back. It's cool to see Jay come on here. So yeah, I mean, unless you guys have anything to add, I mean, we could definitely end the podcast here. So anyways, we're just going to end the podcast here. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know these episodes are kind of confusing, but so I'll just explain how it's going to work. So basically, we're going to put the Will Smith and the Jada stuff all in one podcast. And in this part of the podcast and the last part of the podcast, we're going to put those into its own episode. So it's going to be kind of flopped around. So I know it's weird, but if you got to this point, you understand what's going on. But anyway, so once again, I want to thank everybody for coming on. I want to thank James. I want to thank Norris. I want to thank Keith. I want to thank Ella Cool Pat, Jay. Who else am I missing? B, Adam. So yeah, I want to thank all y'all for coming on these two podcasts. We definitely appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys want to check us out, once again, please like and subscribe on your way out. Make sure to check our Eclipse channel. We definitely got more coming very, very soon. And beyond that, you know, yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace out, all.